We're going to move on to Eli's question. He says, I am 25 and I have $50,000 in a high yield savings account.
Woo! Wow.
That's awesome.
I know. He says, I want to start investing again, but I have a sour taste from stock market in the past few years. How can I rewire my brain to invest?
You know, I had this problem, Brian. When I started in the financial world, it was like 2008, 2009, Great Recession, world falling, all this stuff. But I was so juiced about financial planning that like when I was finishing up my coursework in like 2006, 2007, I told a couple buddies, I was like, man, you got to, these things called Roth IRAs, you know, we all have part-time jobs, we're bussing tables, we're serving. You guys should do a Roth IRA, it'd be great. And I convinced them, you know, take $1,000 and put it in a Roth. And they did this in like 2007, 6, something like that.
Yep.
And then 2008 happened and they watched that $1,000 turn into like $600 real quick. And they're like, but why on earth did you ever get me to do this investing thing? The stock market doesn't work. This is awful. And it's because I led them astray. And I wonder, Eli, if this is what's happened for you. You have been soured with investing because maybe you made a decision that just had some unfortunate timing. If I could go back in time to my buddies and say, hey, you know what? Here's what you should do. Don't take $1,000. Don't put it all in a Roth IRA today. Why don't you just start doing $100 a month? And every month you put $100 in and we'll just buy a low cost index fund. And you know what? At the end of 10 months, if you're out of money, we'll stop and we won't do any more. Now, what will practically happen, we see this with clients, is at that 10-month mark, they never stop. The $100 just kind of keeps flowing in. Had I done that, what would have happened is they would have been buying all through 2008 and all through 2009. And that moment when they said, Bo, holy cow, I can't believe I did this investing thing. Why on earth did I jump into this? Instead of saying that, they said, holy cow, you realize the market was down, 200 points today and my purchase went in. And by the way, the market went up last week and holy cow, did you see what my thing? Then you're able to turn that negative into a positive. So Eli, if that is where you are and you've got this money sitting in that high yield savings account and you want to like dip your toe back into investing, I think that's the way that you probably ought to think about doing is actually dipping your toe in a steady and slow systematic basis to begin doing it over time and try and just jump right into the deep end.
Yeah. Eli, first of all, this is a great time to have a lot of cash. Mm-hmm. I mean, I just got an email from one of my high yield savings accounts yesterday. This is one of the FDIC. It's not even the money market mutual funds. And they're now paying 5.15%. FDIC high yield savings account. Pretty incredible. But here's what I was thinking about when I was listening to Bo talk about this, Eli, is that you've been burned. In Bo's example, he talked about his buddies that he told $1,000 stock tip that turned into $600. If you think about that drop on your $50,000, that would be a haircut that went down to $30,000 using the exact same, percentage. And that's probably what has got you ouching. So we got to come up with a better way to do money. And that's why I just want to do a quick walkthrough. Go to moneyguy.com/resources. You too can download this free copy of the Financial Order of Operations. This is what's going to protect you from this, because let's talk long term and also the most efficient path for each dollar that you control. Deductibles covered. We're going to figure out 25. Look at your health insurance. You're trying to find your highest deductible and make sure that's covered. It's probably going to be your health insurance is what I would think. So go check that out. Now, 25, potentially you're on your parents' insurance still. So then go look at your car insurance or something like that. Then move to step 2. If you're working for an employer, figure out how you can put in that's planning ahead. That's probably more of a dollar cost averaging behavior, because it's going to be you're going to allocate more from your paycheck into your employer plan, because you don't want to miss those best days. So we got to make sure we get that money going. High interest debt. I imagine with $50,000, you don't have any high interest debt.
At least if you do, you should be able to knock it out quick.
Step 4, 3 to 6 months. We look at 3 to 6 months. You're going, 25, that's not going to be huge. So it's still going to be even money. And that's the money you just leave in the high yield savings account. Try to get that 5% or greater that's now out there. That's even being, emails are being blasted out to customers about. But then it gets to the point number 5 that Bo talked about. Now, look, if you've got $50,000, and we know with Roth IRAs, step 5, you can't touch this until you get to retirement age anyway. Let's go ahead and put all $6,500 into that Roth IRA, load it up. It doesn't matter, because if the market goes down next week, it goes down 6 months, that's okay, because you can't touch that money for a gazillion years anyway. But then now you're going to have the question, after you load up your Roth IRAs, health savings accounts, whatever you access, the max out retirement accounts, that's going to now fall into doing your best strategy that Bo was kind of alluding to. How do you figure this out? And if you had $50,000 after you went through steps 1 through 5, you're probably still going to be somewhere around potentially like 30 grand, maybe even 35 grand. And that's where you're going to have to figure out, do you want a dollar cost average or do you want a lump sum invested? This is a big number. So you're probably going to want to dollar cost average it. And the reason I want to encourage you, and I would probably say like a 5-month period, a 5 to 6 month period. But here's the ultimate thing. So I just told you how and what to do, by using the financial order operations, but this is the why. And, one of the things we talk about is that we've done studies with the worst investors in history. We've done studies with the best investors. And usually it all comes down to time in the market matters. And a lot of us as humans, we try to control the situation. We say, well, if we could just avoid the worst moments, it takes away all the pain. But the reality is nobody knows when those worst moments. So it's best to just stay in the market, because if you missed the best days, you're going to see that you take an incredible rate of return over the long term that gets crushed, just because you got caught up into the emotional side.
Can I show Eli a chart?
Yeah, do it.
You're going to love it. You guys will see it pop up on your screen too. But this kind of thing has helped me tremendously. This is going to show you the bear markets and the bull markets. I mean, over the past, let's see, from like 1942 to almost present day. I mean, I'd love to hear you guys expound on this, but you can see like the dips, which are in yellow, are so much smaller than the growth that you can experience over time. And if you're 25, you've got a lot of exciting years. So that has really changed the way that I see investing, because I've experienced the same thing. I opened a Roth and you don't see a lot of exciting things happen in the first few years, right?
Yeah.
But when you look at it over time, really cool things happen. So I just wanted him to see that.
I love that. That bull versus bear just shows how good the good times can be and how short and really infrequent the bad times are. I think if Eli had a bad experience, it just saddens me, because more often than not, the markets are going up. It's like eating, you reach into the jar of nuts and you get the one bad peanut and it puts a bad taste in your mouth. That doesn't mean that you stop eating nuts forever. That's kind of the way that the market is. Just because your first experience is a bad nut, I would encourage you to get another handful.
No, you do the opposite. You actually throw a handful of nuts in. The next one will wash out the rest. So you put more in. And that's So Eli, I hope, because there is just so much data. Go out there and look in the archives of the Money Guy Show. We got them all out there since 2006. If you go to moneyguy.com, we have done so much content on why it's good to be an optimist and why it's good to be invested over the long term. So go make the most out of every dollar that comes into your command.